When you're growing up, you aspire to be so many things. Superstar in sports, a superstar in entertainment, be it a rapper, be it a musician. But in Uganda, sometimes you just find yourself being a superstar. Tonight, I'm joined by two superstars. One best in Europe, the other, well, best in Uganda with me, but still a superstar in his own right. Now, the World Cup is coming in 4 years' time. One's just got done last year, but a player that was at the World Cup joins us tonight as she crowns super star, and then a rapper that if you loved hip hop while growing up, and this guy is not that old by the way, but you definitely had his music. One of the best Luga flow rappers in the country. It's Saint Nellysade tonight and Haniisha Muhameed on Beyond the Game. It's Thursday night. Welcome, Jonah Diaksaga. So we're back. Let's get into the show tonight. We talk sports and entertainment on this set. And tonight it's netball and hip hop. What a combination. I'll start with you, Haniisha. I know you have a flight, or you're supposed to have a flight. You're heading out to represent the country. Yeah. So we only have you for a few minutes. So we're going to make the most of our time. Welcome to Beyond the Game.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, and Saint Nellysade, your real name is Nelson who?
Nsubuga.
Nelson Nsubuga is the real name.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I want to first start with that. First of all, welcome to the set. Welcome to Beyond the Game. And also, thanks for making the time. I know it wasn't easy for you to make your way down here.
It's always a pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.
Like
I always say, tuyingiddewo tetuze kunonya fame, but nga bulijjo tuyingiddewo ku Beyond the Game.
I was not ready. I wasn't ready. All right, so let me ask, why Saint Nellysade?
Yeah, Saint, I grew up with the name Saint. I grew up in a community of drug abusers. People could ask me to try out cigarettes, try out weed, try out alcohol, like things like that. So when I refused, they nicknamed me Saint. So I grew up with that name, Saint. It was a nickname.
Because you refused to do
the drugs?
drugs?
Yeah, because I refused to try out the drugs, yeah.
How hard is that? Because for most artists, especially in the hip hop world, drugs, I'm not saying it's a must, but it tended to go along with the business or with the craft. How easy was that for you to say no to that?
No. It's someone's choice. It's not that hip hop. You shouldn't tag it on hip hop as a genre, but it's someone's choice. It's everywhere. It dance or even in sports, there are people who use drugs. So it's a choice. But for me, since I saw how some people, a few friends were suffering back then because of abusing the drugs, I refused to try it out. Yeah.
I feel cheated. I'm the only person whose eyes are not covered, but hey, I'll just make do with it. But Nisha, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Nisha, Haniisha?
Yeah.
What flies?
No, you can call me anything, but a lot of people call me Nisha. So Nisha, the last 4 letters to my name. So you can call me anything. You can call me Nisha, you can call me Haniisha, you can call me Muhameed, you can call me anything.
Muhammad, is that a family name? Is that your name?
No,
is that dad's name?
It's actually my dad's name, yeah.
So let's start there. Let's start with your family, because I've had you speak somewhere else before, and you spoke about your journey with netball. Yeah. And you say that it wasn't something you dreamed of growing up as a kid. It's not even something you had interest in.
Yeah.
And somehow here you are representing the country, playing at the World Cup and playing for a team in Europe. You're pro. Yeah. How did that happen for someone who had absolutely zero interest in sport?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it had something to do with my height. I've had so many people constantly, growing up, I had so many people constantly question my height. What do you actually use your height for? Are you a model? Do you play any sport? And for some reason, I think I was forced to start out any particular sport around school because of my height. I wanted to have a response to the question. So yeah, that's how I started playing netball. And well, I am blessed because I you know, a couple of coaches picked interest in me and, you know, paid attention. And, you know, one of the coaches, actually, I think he's one of my favorite coaches. He's called Hamza Katende. He gave me a lot of his time to teach me the basics of netball. And that is something you don't get here in Uganda from, you know, a lot of netball coaches.
What level was this? I mean, were you in secondary school?
Yeah, I was in secondary school, honestly. Okay. And he gave me a lot of his time, attention to just, learn the basics of netball. And boom, here we are.
So you said playing netball while you're in secondary school, right?
Yeah.
That's Chivuli?
Yeah, pretty much because I did my O-level at Chivuli Secondary School and A-level. So that's pretty much where I played the most. But I think I was still struggling. I was not really good enough. Netball is a very tricky game. Learning the basics and mastering the basics is just not something you can do in a day or, a year. It takes time. But then, I feel like that's where I played the most.
You jumped from secondary school, went to uni, you went to UCU, if I remember right. You went to UCU, played there for a little bit, and then got signed to your first club level where you got to play club netball. That's with KCCA.
Yeah.
What was that transition like? Because now here you're from playing casually in school, and then now you've moved to a university. They like you, they think you're good enough to play, and then a club scouts you and says, listen, she's good. I think on your debut you scored 42 points. I'm a sports journalist, so I have all these figures off the top of my head. But you scored, I think, 42 goals on your debut for KCCA.
Yeah.
What was that transition now like, moving from just casually playing to now playing for a big club?
It was tricky because I'll be honest with you, I wanted to just focus on my, school and, take on a very different profession than just netball. But, I've had so many coaches constantly tell me, you're good enough. I think you can play professionally. So don't just stop here. There's so much you can give to the sport. And Coach Mugera constantly told me, you need to play netball. You need to play netball. I don't see any reason to why you should stop playing netball. And he signed me. He gave me my very first contract with KCC. And I played for just a season and then got signed to Storm.
Got to Storm. We'll get to Storm in a bit. But Nelly, as I come back to you, I'm going to call you Nelly for tonight because I have Nelson at the back of my head. Saint Nellysade. But sir, there's something interesting about your journey that I picked up on. You came in as an English rapper.
No. That was way back.
Yeah, I'm talking about your start. Way back. We're talking about your start.
Yeah.
Because you started rapping, I think, in 2004, around about then. With the gangsters, was it called the gangsters?
That was a group, a rap crew in high school when we were just starting. At first I started as a spoken word artist, but then later, after all that American rap influence,
spoken word artist is what now?
It's poetry. It's more like reciting. You stand up and start reciting words. Yeah. But when you put in a beat, it becomes rap because there you have mixed rhythm and poetry at the same time. Yeah. So, I wanted to be an English rapper when I was starting up because of the American influence. And I really looked at people like Nas, Mos Def, and Talib Kweli. I used to listen to them a lot, But later I realized that it was hard to rap in English. Yeah, it didn't sound nice to me because first of all, I'm my favorite fan. Yeah. So when I listened to myself, it wasn't working out. I was like, no.
I want to understand something. Was it that it wasn't working out? Also, was it that the market wasn't there? They were not embracing English rappers because outside the Myth and Navio, they've hardly, in current times now, you have Wonder JR and what's his name? Klansman? Chief Klansman, and then Ruyonga. So you have a few more. They're starting to come up again. But back then it was just the Myth and Navio. And you didn't have really any English rappers. Wasn't it the reason why it was hard for you to break into the market?
Not really. Yeah. Actually, by then, hip-hop was more English than now. Yeah, because we had Clear Cut. Before even the likes of Ruyonga, there was Clear Cut and Lyrical G winning awards back then. Yeah. But for us, we thought that maybe local languages don't sell on rap. That's what because when you're in school, of course, everything is English. Yeah. But later on, when I listened, the revolution of East Africa TV back then. Yeah. They really opened up our eyes because the likes of Professor J's and Mwana Efe, all those guys, P-Funk Productions and all that. We really listened to a lot of Swahili rap, bongo flavor, and we're like, man, English,
let's go local here.
Let's go local. If these guys can make it in Swahili, why don't we make it in Luganda? Then later, GNL came into the industry and the scene. He really opened our eyes.
Is that why you're wearing a baboon
forest
that's cap?
Yeah, he gave it to me. I was on a
I thought so
podcast
when I
like-
saw it, because that was your inspiration.
He gave me this two weeks ago. We had a podcast. We were shooting a podcast, and he was like, no, just take this.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, before then, there were even Luganda rappers. Then the likes of Sylvester and Abrams, Babaluku was there.
Yeah.
But GNL, there's a way GNL revolutionized hip hop and put it in people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it became like a mainstream. He put hip hop on a mainstream, and yeah, of course, we were still in school, but hip hop was, Luga flow was everywhere.
Was it? Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm in Uganda. Why don't I rap in Luganda?
Uganda, why
First
you
of all,
stressing?
even my poems are in Luganda.
Yeah.
Tuchukube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to drop us a freestyle at the very end, so I can't wait for that. But I want the two of you to I don't know if there's any similarities in terms of your journeys, especially with your parents. I think I picked up something from you, Nisha, about how much did your parents embrace your crafts in terms of letting you do that? Because our generation, I'm not that old, by the way, our generation, it was about school. Go get a degree, go get a job.
Yeah.
And I understand where they were coming from. I think it's a very fair thing, because sports, entertainment, music didn't make much money in Uganda, at least.
Yeah.
So they were right to push us to go to school. But how much of an influence did they have on the two of you in terms of allowing you to go explore your crafts?
Well, well said. Because at the start, I don't think my parents were supportive at all. I said over and over again, most especially my dad. My dad was a very traditional guy. Go to school, get a degree, go do a master's degree, go do, whatever. So sport just did not make sense to any of my parents at the start. But yeah, with time, I think I was someone in the national team when I was 18 or something, and I was still in school. And then my dad is like, okay, actually, it makes sense now. You can get on the national team, you can play for the country. And I think with time, it just made sense to him when I started playing international games, when, it made a lot of sense to him. And, till he passed on, I think he has been my biggest fan. He would, look out for schedule. He would watch a lot of news to just look out for what, is happening around netball. So it was very, very different at the start, but then he, picked up interest. And my mom as well. My mom would definitely ask 1 or 2, 3 questions. We don't have any athlete in my family, so I'm the only athlete in the family. So yeah, they're now picking interest, because now I'm a bit everywhere. So which is really, really interesting, because you want people around you to support you in something you think you're passionate about. So quite supportive now, I'll say. I'll tell my mom, oh, we're traveling, and she's like, yay, I'm excited. I'll definitely watch the game. So it's a little bit different right now. So yeah.
You mentioned your dad, and he passed away, I think, a month or so back.
Yeah.
How much of an impact has that had on your career? Has it held you back in any way?
No, he's not held me back. I think for me, with my dad, if you are passionate about something and you're doing it, and there's something that is actually visible in terms of what you're doing, I think he would be supportive. But like I said, he was a very traditional guy. Go to school, be smart, study hard, and etc. So but he was really, really supportive later. And yeah, I'm gonna miss him. Yeah, so much. Yeah.
I'm sure he's watching down and he's very proud. Saint Nellysade. I pulled papers out of my school books. I wrote rhymes, by the way. Look at me here. And
Me
I do
too.
sports. You did
Me
as well.
too, actually.
We pulled papers out of our school books and wrote rhymes and freestyled in class and competed against each other.
Yeah.
I remember in my S5, I think an S6 in Vienna College, and it was a thing that we did amongst a group of friends. But look at me now, I'm not even a rapper. I didn't even come any close. But did your parents ever know what you were doing? Not studying, but instead writing rhymes.
No, I grew up with my mom.
Yeah.
And interestingly, she's the one who inspired me to start rapping.
Wow.
Because she's a poet. She used to write lots of poems, and I could steal her books and memorize them.
Yeah.
So then I go to school and recite them. So I was a superstar on my mom's poems back then, you understand? Then later, I started picking interest that what if I put these poems on a beat? Yeah, just like the Wedge Unit does, just like the Wedge Rule does, or Jay-Z or something like that. So everything started from there. But when she got to know about the rapping side of it, she wasn't happy because our parents have that vision that, oh, you're going to do hip hop, you're going to rap, so you're about to start balancing the trousers, the drugs, and then cornrows in your head. I was like, whatever happens, I'm into this.
Are you the only child? Are you her only son or only boy?
No. Yeah, I was the favorite.
How close? That's why she let you rap, right?
But she was worried. She was so worried, and she used to tell me a lot of things. That, man, you see this side, especially when GNL blew up. She was like, "Now, like, she used to advise me, like, she could see the industry negatively, not positively, until my first time to travel outside the country. By then, that was 2013 with my crew, Luga Flow Army. So we were traveling to Denmark, Copenhagen, for a festival. That was our first international festival. When I talked to her about that, she was so happy. She was like, "Are you going to rap or you're going to work?" I told her both, because they are paying, and at the same time, I'm going to do something I love. You should be somewhere.
All right. He's talking about passion. Nisha and St. Nellysade on Beyond the Game. We're going to go into a quick break. We need to pay our bills. When we get back, we look at their pro journeys. One's off to the UK, the other is traveling Denmark, traveling for festivals, all that on Beyond the Game.